Okay, what's going on, guys? My name is NGP. Uh, Full disclosure, this is gonna have spoilers because what this is me basically talking about what I thought Vagabond as a whole. Like, just I've just recently finished reading all 327 chapters, so yeah. So I'm under the impression that you've already read it yourself, and that you're basically coming here just to hear other people's opinions on it. Um, what I think it is. I think it's okay. I think it's an okay manga. I mean, I wouldn't. It has a lot of hype. I think it definitely had its moments. It had a lot of great moments for sure, guaranteed. Like where it's like, okay, this is really good, but a lot of the times it kind of felt really like repetitive, like episodic. Like I mean, I don't know if they have a word for that in manga, but it just felt episodic. Like he'd meet strong opponent, beat strong opponent. Everybody wants to be strong, peerless. Like what is it? What was that word? Invincible under the sun. I don't really feel like the manga really caught fire. Like I mean, I guess in the beginning it was good. I mean, because clearly it was pretty solid. I kept reading it myself. I mean, the artwork was okay. I mean, it was good. I mean, people say it's like it's the greatest thing ever, but I mean, it didn't have that much scenery. It's not like a Berserk where you have this ridiculous fantasy background and all these things, and it's just like a whole nother world. It's a pretty, the backgrounds are pretty simple. You got mountains, some grass, and houses, and things of that nature. But the artist definitely does do a pretty solid job. But I I felt like I break the anime down, the manga, not anime, down into four arcs. That I mean, I call it. This is how I look at it as I saw it. Not, the first arc I would call the Wild Beast of Miyamoto Village. The second arc I'd call the Journey of the Warrior. And the third arc I would call the Journey of the Philosopher. And the fourth is Full Circle. And I mean, obviously the manga's not done yet, but it seems like it's about that time, especially considering if you go on Google and read about Miyamoto Musashi. And so, let's the wild beast when he was a wild beast of Miyamoto Village and everyone hated him. It's kind of cool. It's interesting. Obviously, this is the beginning. Everything's nice and interesting as you watch it from the beginning. So I mean, that's obvious. But so we're just gonna fast forward. But it really, is just that's just him hacking and slashing and showing his dominance, his talent, and you kind of see a bit of a backstory of like his how his dad neglected him and things of that nature. And so not too bad, regular stuff. So but then you get on the journey of the warrior. Like this is like basically after Madahachi like ditches him to shack up with Oko, and he's traveling Japan and just challenging everybody. Like it doesn't matter who it is. Like he just sees someone on the street, he's challenging them. Uh, this portion of the story, I'd say the manga lost me a lot. Like it's not that it was bad. I feel like it probably would have been better if it was an anime. That way, I could actually watch these fights and be thoroughly entertained. But I couldn't, and I'm watching it as it goes. So it just seemed like a lot of times I just found myself flipping through the manga, just like I'm not interested in the action. Let me see a story, and it didn't during this period of time. It didn't bring much towards a story, but it did really breathe life into a lot of characters. Like Denshiro was a character I really liked. Like we got to know him in this during this arc. Like the gentle giant, always responsible, not cutthroat. Like I mean, and they gave him a bad rap in the story, but I like Denshiro a lot. I felt Denshiro deserved a bit better than what the author kind of put him as. Like he kind of basically put him back like he's so kind, he's weak, and that it destroyed him. But I feel like that kindness was his strength, and I guess you could kind of say that they hinted to that near the end of the arc when like all the 70 of the Yoshioka just threw it all in and put their whole swords behind them to avenge them and things of that nature. But and Ueda, another great character. I mean, they like during this arc they gave us a lot of really good characters. Like that's for certain. You can't even question that. Period. Like Ueda was nice, just stoic, supremely talented, but calm. Like he's calm and he sits in the background. He puts his ego to the side, and he would do anything for Denshiro and well, I guess Denshiro in particular. I mean, he was cool with the older brothers, Seijiro, but he you could tell you could really tell he had a special relationship with Denshiro, and he would do anything for him. Another character was that I thought was cool was mm, actually a lot of the characters were dry during this part. Man, I got to be honest. It was just a lot of like, yo, I want to be the strongest. I need this type of experience in a fight. I mean, we met Jotaro. Jotaro was nice. I liked him. He's a cool kid. He gave us a nice little comic relief, but yeah, a lot of the characters were just really flat during this arc. Like, if I just gotta be honest. Yeah, yeah, there was just a lot of really flat characters. I mean, I didn't particularly understand. I understood it. This is probably the part where I just kind of there was a lot of moments I felt like I wanted to drop it. But I mean, they had a lot of. I guess another cool character was the Saseki. This is when it really started adding a bit more depth. Is with the Yagyu. I can't say his first name, but Yagyu, old man Yagyu. When he kind of met him, and he's just this rabid animal. He's beating on everybody, and like you see him just kind of sit there, look, and he looks at him, and he just like he can't like he gets I guess he becomes paralyzed, and he immediately sees his own incompetence. And even in that moment, I believe that was one of the oh no, it was old man Ine who kind of taught him, no, like you gotta hide your bloodlust and you have to become more calm, like you're just a wild animal. But Yagi kind of really set it in, and they kept him in through the story as like the characters kind of maybe went away from him, but he took a piece of them within his conscience, and he was constantly thinking about them. So that was they were pretty cool. Uh, Now, yeah, so those guys are pretty cool, but yeah, I don't know. This arc I didn't particularly like, and then his character remained static. Miyamoto, like he really remained static over. He didn't really like grow as much as I would like. Like he was just kind of the same guy, really strong, just bulldozing everybody and just kicking ass. Period. Except that Yagyu scene. That Yagyu scene is the first time you kind of really saw him question things and question himself. So fast forward, I mean, he becomes a real monster. He comes back to Kyoto, and him and Denchiro have a rematch, and he just slaughters Seijiro, which that was kind of sweet. That was a nice little scene. That would have been nice to see as an anime. And then he goes on and he just, I mean, after he slaughtered Seijiro, like Denshiro was done. Like that was his brother. He loved him, and yeah, he just wasn't the same, and he was done. Uh, and he basically essentially just destroyed that whole clan. I mean, also in here we meet Sasaki Kojiro or Ganryu Kojiro. We'll just call him Kojiro, and I'm not probably not gonna talk about him too much because I feel like his character didn't have that much depth. He was just like this mute, extremely talented. I mean, in his youth, he was cool. He had a little bit more, multiple different layers. You could see him in his relationship with his interim father, his adopted father, which was still that was nice. That was a nice arc, sort of. But beyond that, no, I didn't really care for his character, so I probably won't be talking about him too much. He's just you can sum it down to multiple, like a couple sentences. Extremely talented, mutant deaf. Simple. Like that's really who he is. He's just a wall that Miyamoto is gonna have to climb. Okay, so after he kills all 70 of the Yoshioka, he becomes, I guess, what you can say is invincible under the sun. Like he earns that name and earns that respect, and so now he's known in Japan. So okay, we finally hit that peak. I guess this him reaching this point is the equivalent of, I guess you could say, Naruto becoming the Hokage, right? So great, he's super strong. I mean, but in the process of when he fought all 70 of the Yoshioka, he lost, like, they, I guess, I believe, was it Ueda? I don't know. Someone cut his leg and he can't walk. I mean, so now he's told that he can't use the sword anymore. Um, and yeah, I mean, I this is really where the story started catching me. I mean, it was slow for a bit, but this is the moment where they really got into the philosophy. What does it mean to be invincible and things of that nature? Because before, and you can see Miyamoto, he's really, like, for the first time growing. Like, you can see he's developing a bit of a conscience before he just slaughtered people without thinking twice about it. I mean, they did have moments like when he fought the chain and sickle guy, and you could see in that moment when the chain, like, because this was a guy he respected and he thought he was a warrior, and then I guess in the end, I guess the guy begged for his life so he kind of protect this young girl that was following him. So that was some moments that they had within the journey of the warrior. But after the Yoshioka, like, it was a totally different game. Like, now it was an interesting story. So I guess this portion of it becomes the journey of the philosopher, and now that he's invincible under the sun, he's got people coming at him, and he's asking them questions like, well, what do you, what, like, well, let's start with this. He's asking himself questions. What does it mean to be strong? Which I thought was kind of cool, because it's like, hey, well, like, what was, because that's what I felt like he was doing all these things, but what was the purpose? And then he talks to his, I guess, his friendly monk, Taquan. Really, that's another nice character. Probably should have mentioned him earlier, but he's real. I like his character. But he talks about Taquan, and yeah, he's talking to Taquan, and these are the questions he's asking himself. He's like, yo, what does it mean to be strong? It's like, yes, I'm strong, but what does that mean? What has that gotten me? And Taquan's like, so you're finally thinking about that. And Taquan even tells him, like, I know that you feel the pain of all the people that you killed. And he explains to him, like, all the people that you killed had families that they wanted to come home to. And so that was cool, because, Miyamoto, like, he never thought about those things. Like, he just kind of always just wanted to be strong and he'd kill people. And for the first time, like, you can see something, how do I say it? He's shifting from a beast to a human, right? I don't want to say human, but he's becoming something else entirely, and he's questioning himself, his existence, and his purpose. Where he's torn, like, he can imagine a life with Otsu, that's based. I mean, she's a big character, I suppose, but that's his love interest. And, she loves him, she's waiting on him, but he's envisioning a life with her and just chilling out. But all he knows is the way of the warrior, and so he just kind of falls into that, and he still can't really use his leg, but he's just extremely talented. So he embarks on another journey, and people are challenging him left and right, and he's just slaughtering them, and it's not even close. And then, but where probably but now we reach, like, my favorite part of the whole story is where he sits down with, he runs into this village or whatever, I don't know, but I can't remember the name of the village, but basically in this village he's gonna grow rice paddies, and that's just what they do. They're like kind of farmers, and so he helps out this little boy Iori. Like, he's hanging out with Iori now. He helped him, like, and then he's looking at Iori and he's like, oh, okay, well, he's helping him and he's helping the village, but he sees that Iori, his father, died, so he kind of needs someone to take care of him. So he takes care of him for a little bit, helps him bury his dad, and now he's gonna try and help him grow, rice on his fields. That's just the shit he did. Like, he's a weirdo. He just, everywhere he goes, he just kind of randomly stays. So he's trying to grow rice, and he's trying to, like, get that field from stopping. So first, the goal is to stop the field from being flooded. He accomplishes that, and he's just doing all this through sheer just hard work, talent. Like that's what he's been, a warrior. He never stops. He's disciplined, and but he can't succeed. Every time it's getting drowned out. Once he builds like an irrigation system to stop it from drowning out, it can't grow. It's not growing anything. The field tastes bad. No matter how hard he works, nothing is happening to that field. No, it's frustrating him. So what he thought was gonna be a short stay to help this little kid, he's like, no, fuck it. Like I'm not leaving until I grow this rice field. And so basically he stays there for a while, like so long, like he becomes like a part of that village. But basically, like so, and it's humbling him. Like this is the first thing he's ever like went up against that he just could not tear down on his own. And a guy kind of, I believe, what's his name was Shusaku. So Shusaku comes around and he's looking at Miyamoto and he says, "Look, man, what you're doing is all wrong." So I'm like, he's just kind of an asshole, but he said something cool that I thought was pretty cool, where he goes, "Look, you can look at what I do and think that it's wrong, but you think I like." He basically hates samurai, and he hates samurai because of everything Musashi's doing. He says, "You think you can fix this paddy field strictly through sheer and brute force and your own, but you're wrong. You it's more to it. Like this world is like an ecosystem. We need each other. But you think you don't need anybody." And he even said it like later on. He's like, "Yo, like the problem with samurai is that they fight to become peerless if they don't see the weak around them." And in Miyamoto, I mean, he never really it took him a long time to understand it. He just kept going at it until like, there was a famine, a lot of things. Basically, he just got crushed. He built relationships with these people, and like people were dying, people were starving. He's still going. And there was even a scene where the guy goes, "Help us," because they're inspired by his work ethic, and he looks at them and with contempt, and he's like, "Help you? What do you mean help you? Like, how can you be so weak to put your life in the hands of another man?" That's what he thinks. But then you fast forward, the Iori kid that he's taking care of falls ill. Like, he's like, "Oh shit, like this kid's about to die." Like, he's just looking around, the village is just dying. And so I guess, like, obviously a swordsman of his talent, uh, has people that wants his skill set. So he runs to like some castle, I guess this group Kokoro Castle, whatever, and he tells them, "Look, man, I'll do whatever you want. Just help this village." And he got on his hands and knees and begged and asked and begged for help. And that was like a crazy moment because he's never done that. He's always been able to rely on his strength. And so once that was really cool. This is really all the reasons why this was like my favorite part of the story. Is like you can see the real growth in him. Like he becomes kinder. He's smiling. He's no longer just some rabid Wolverine. Like there's depth to his character, and he's become humbled, and that's. I thought that whole thing was just cool. Like I thought, I was like, damn, like I didn't see that coming. So they come back, and they basically, they square out the village, and yeah, so now he's kind of built something up to himself. Like he's multi-layered, multifaceted, and I think that's really cool. So, I mean, that's about all my relevant thoughts on the show. I mean, it's got a lot of philosophy, but it, it it's got a lot of philosophy in it. For the most part, I didn't particularly care about all of them because you just had a lot of different ideas, but just what they did with Miyamoto, I loved. I loved it. Like this third, this the journey of the philosopher, the third arc, as I call it, was probably it made the manga worth reading. because before that I just thought it was just bland and boring and just not totally completely uninteresting. But yeah, now it definitely got pretty good. So so so, so yeah, so kind of he's kind of found like a new strength, and I guess now we're in the full circle arc because now he's going to the Kokoro's castle, where he's gonna meet up with Sasaki Kojiro, and I imagine they're gonna fight for some position. Only God knows, but yeah, overall it's a good show. So far, I'd say I'd rate it. I mean, I put it at like 7 out of 10 for me. It's pretty decent, highs and lows. I liked it.